before criminal liability. Senator Judge Erwin Tulfo asked why the NBI considered the respondents' statements to constitute inciting to sedition rather than mere propaganda for protected political speech. Senator Judge Pia Cayetano explored the legal appreciation of fear in the offense of grave threats, asking whether fear must be experienced by the intended victim or whether public perception is sufficient, and at what point a warning legally transforms into a criminal threat. Theme number 2, reliability, credibility, and evidentiary weight of the NBI's evidence. Several senator judges focused on the credibility of the witness and the reliability of the evidence relied upon by the NBI. Senator Judge Risa Ontiveros asked the witness to explain the evidentiary significance and weight accorded by the NBI to admissions against interest in establishing criminal liability and in determining whether sufficient evidence exists to support the filing of charges. Senator Judge Kiko Pangilinan confirmed that the videos presented before the court were authentic, complete, and neither altered, spliced, nor generated through artificial intelligence. Senator Judge Robin Padilla established the witness's qualifications and credibility by asking about his professional background, credentials, prior cases filed against him, his appreciation of the respondent's political stance against the president, and whether he possessed personal knowledge of the alleged threats against the president. Theme number 3, scope, fairness, and thoroughness of the NBI investigation. Several senator judges scrutinized whether the investigation was conducted comprehensively, consistently, and without selective treatment. Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian asked whether investigators identified any persons who actually believed the respondents' statements and whether media personalities interviewed by the NBI themselves believed the alleged threats. He further examined the factual basis of the NBI's investigations by asking whether the Bureau had actually found that an assassin had been contracted and whether there was any finding that the respondent possessed the capability by virtue of her office to engage or contract such an assassin. Senator Judge Risa Ontiveros sought clarification on whether the NBI's factual findings had changed or evolved between the filing of its original affidavit and its subsequent affidavit, testing the consistency and integrity of the Bureau's investigative conclusions. Senator Judge Joel Villanueva asked about the NBI's letter requesting information from the respondent concerning threats to her life, whether an investigation continued despite her failure to appear, and whether threats against the respondent were investigated with the same diligence as threats against the president. Senator Judge Erwin Tulfo inquired whether the NBI seriously evaluated the disclosures made by Princess Maui and sought clarification regarding the Bureau's classification system for intelligence information. Theme number 4, context, intent, and surrounding circumstances. Several senator judges examined surrounding factual circumstances relevant to the respondent's alleged intent and the proper interpretation of the statements at issue. Senator Judge Panfilo Lacson clarified that Operation Romanov appeared to concern an alleged threat against the president rather than the vice president, and questioned why open source intelligence had not been incorporated into the NBI's affidavit. Senator Judge Kiko Pangilinan asked whether Princess Maui would likewise have been investigated had she appeared before the NBI, and whether ordinary citizens making similar social media statements had been treated in the same manner. Senator Judge Raffy Tulfo asked whether Mayor Baste Duterte's reference to Russia's Romanovs was directed at the first family. Senator Judge Alan Cayetano emphasized that the court should not infer from the evidence that Mayor Baste Duterte had actually threatened the first family. Lastly, theme number 5, relationship between the criminal case and the impeachment proceedings. Several senator judges examined the relationship between the pending criminal proceedings and the constitutional impeachment process. This was done by Senator Judge Tito Soto when he asked whether the criminal cases filed before the regular courts involved the same allegations now before the impeachment court, or whether they were distinct from the constitutional charge of betrayal of public trust. As to the manifestations and motions, upon query of the presiding officer on the duration of the subpoena ad testificandum for Attorney Lopez, which was only until today, the House Prosecution Panel, through the Counsel for Prosecutor Attorney Lorna Capunan, manifested that they will not anymore present Attorney Lopez and Captain Belinda Bello to abbreviate the proceedings. The presiding officer noted the manifestation. The Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian joined the motion of Senator Judge Alan Cayetano to conduct a caucus after the oral arguments tomorrow, July 15, 2026. Upon motion of Senator Judge Alan Cayetano and House Prosecutor Defensor that the time be increased to 15 minutes for oral arguments each side and 10-minute rebuttal, while the senator judges are given 10 minutes each for a maximum of 1 hour for each side, based on Rule 19 of the Senate impeachment rules. The presiding officer reminded the House Prosecution Panel on their duty to disclose by tomorrow their witnesses for next week. Following rulings by the presiding officer on various evidentiary motions and objections by both parties, the trial was adjourned. Pursuant to the rules of procedure on impeachment trials, the impeachment court will resume session tomorrow, Wednesday, July 15, 2026 at 2 p.m. The agenda is the oral arguments on the issuance of subpoena duces tecum to the BIR, AMLC, and the banks. Any questions?
Would you know kung last witness ng prosecution si Attorney Matibag, si NBI chief on Monday? Kasi naalala namin 11 days ang hiningi ng prosecution para mag-present ng evidence and witnesses
Yes.
for Article 4.
Yes. Hindi pa. They listed more witnesses. Nandyan din si Sheriff Abbas, as I remember from the pre-trial briefs. And then they listed a unnamed psychiatrist, and also they listed a person that was threatened by the Duterte family. So those persons are still unnamed.
Okay, so mababawasan lang yung 11 days because finorgo na po yung pagpe-present kina Attorney Lopez.
Yes, I don't know as to the other witnesses. Marami pa eh.
And then isa pa po, si Vice President Sara Duterte naglabas ng statement kanina, dinideny yung allegation. Hindi ba in-explain po ninyo na saklaw din ng sub judice rule ng impeachment rules ng court ang respondent, ang Vice President. So ano ang pwedeng gawin dito ng impeachment court as to the statement made by the Vice President?
Again, Rule 18 is very clear on who are the persons required to respect the sub judice rule. So the determination of whether or not there was a violation of that rule will be done by the Senate impeachment court themselves. Usually, if it was done by any party to the case or any counsel to the case, usually it's one of the parties that will raise such motion for the implementation of Rule 18. So sila po ang magmomosyon, no? I think the policy of the presiding officer is not to motu proprio determine any violation and to sanction any person. So without such motion, he will not act on it by himself.
And what happens pag may nakitang violation po, attorney?
Based on the rules, they can be cited in contempt. Based on the rules. Of course, again, that will be a highly contentious issue, which only the senator judges can determine by themselves. They will, of course, hear both sides. There will be, again, several schools of thought. Sasabihin ng iba, hindi, di ba? May executive privilege, etc. Courtesy. May isa pang school of thought na pwede dahil nakalagay sa rules at wala namang special circumstance for her to be excluded from the rules. So, yun yung mga in-anticipate na mga contentious issues when the time comes. But it's only the Senate impeachment court who will determine it once motion or once the issue is put forth before it.
But in general, attorney, kapag ka may witness na kinontempt, katulad din kapag ka legislative body ay pwedeng ma-detain?
May due process muna yan, no? So, papatanong muna, bakit mo ginawa ito? Bakit ka lumabag sa rules? O bakit ka lumabag doon sa proseso na kinokompel ka ng korte na sumunod o sa order ng korte? At pag nakapagbigay ka ng maayos at reasonable na dahilan, wala namang ipapataw sa'yo. Pero kung hindi ka makapagbigay ng dahilan o ayaw mong magbigay ng dahilan, then doon i-determine ng court, no? There are many ways naman to discipline parties in ordinary courts. Sometimes, most of the time, we are just merely admonished. Ang ibig sabihin ng admonished, pagsasabihan lamang ng impeachment court. Pinakamababa siguro diyan, papaalalahanan. And then, pagsasabihan. Tapos dun na magre-resort siguro to the more serious na penalty of contempt. So ang contempt po base sa natin, pwedeng either pagbayarin ng penalty o kaya naman po yun nga, pwedeng i-detena hangga't hangga't sumunod ka doon sa utos ng korte. So those are general concepts in law na mababasa naman yan at makikita natin dyan sa rules of court natin pati sa Senate impeachment rules.
Sir, mangyayari lang yan kapag may nag-motion na senator judge.
Tama po, either senator judge po or any party po.
Pwede po sana presiding.
Hindi po. Of course, pwede if the matter is brought forth before him or it was done in front of him, in front of the court. Kunwari, yan yung mga instances na parang sinasabing tumigil ka na magsalita tapos hindi ka tumitigil magsalita. So by obvious reason, the presiding officer would have to rule na you are in direct contempt of court because hindi ka sumusunod sa akin eh. So yun, as a matter of example lang.
Attorney, yung sa tig 15 minutes po sa oral arguments, is that per request or 15 minutes total both request for subpoena ng bank tsaka tax records?
Kanina hindi pa malinaw, no, kasi nga ang ruling ng presiding officer jointly na siya. So kasama na pareho 'yon na pag-uusapan kasi may mga joint issues sila doon. Pero nagre-raise nga ng si Senator Judge Alan Cayetano na ito ay different laws ang involved. So, I think pag-uusapan pa nila finally after the caucus kung ilang oras. But the determination of the presiding officer earlier is to give them 15 minutes and then 10 minutes per senator judge. Basta ang overall niyan is 1 hour. Kasi yun yung nakalagay sa rules. But of course, sabi niya kanina, he's open to discussing it after the caucus, after they hear the parties already, the oral arguments.
Sir, clear na po ba na bukas din magkakaroon ng decision o after pa ng caucus, pag-uusapan nila sa caucus?
Bukas na talaga magkakaroon ng desisyon after the caucus. So of course, the caucus will have to consider kung ano yung sinabi sa oral arguments. And at the same time, we'll have to consider the points of view of each of the senator judges. So that's why after the caucus, that's the time they will determine amongst themselves if they will go with the presiding officer's time limitation imposition, or they will have to extend or shorten it dun for the senator judges themselves.
Sir, attorney, pengi lang po ng picture kung paano yung magiging takbo ng oral arguments.
Kala ko picture ko.
Pwede rin, sir. Paano po yung magiging takbo ng oral arguments bukas?
Okay, so both parties will present their main position, no? The prosecution because sila po yung nagre-request ng subpoena at yung depensa naman po dahil sila yung kumukontra sa subpoena. Pag nasabi na po nung dalawang primary speakers yung kanilang position, babalik po doon sa prosecution para naman i-rebut yung sinabi naman nung depensa. So yung sa rebuttal ang tawag po, 10 minutes po yung rebuttal, 15 minutes yung main position. And then pagkatapos po ng prosecution ng 10 minutes niya na rebuttal, babalik naman po sa depensa para naman mag-rebut siya doon sa rebuttal nung prosecution. So ganun, parang debate po yung format.
Tapos pwede po sumingit doon anytime yung mga senator judges or after pa nung rebuttals?
After po ng rebuttals, after ng pareho nilang oral arguments, doon po magko-caucus, and only after the caucus will the senator judges are allowed to argue or even ask questions regarding the issue.
Thank you po.
Attorney, may explanation po ba ang House bakit gusto na lang ipasabpina itong bank records tas yung BIR box given na nasa huling articles pa yung Article 2? Nasa pinakahuli siya sa...
Wala naman sinabi yung BIR dun sa request nila for subpoena. As a matter of right, they have the right to ask for that compulsory process. So I think gusto lang nilang maaga masettle yung issue kasi nga nagkaroon ng issue dun sa BIR box. So mas mabuti nang maaga nilang na ibigay sa korte para at least medyo ma-lessen na rin yung burden on the impeachment court regarding these certain issues.
And then sabi po kanina ni Senator Judge Chis Escudero, pwede po daw i-up ng prosecution ng Article 2? Pwede na siyang sumunod dito sa ano? Okay lang
Yes.
po ba yun? Pwede po ba yun?
Yes, because under sa Supreme Court decisions, the prosecution has the right to determine how they will present their case. And also, by parity of reasoning, the defense will also have that same right on how they will present their case dun sa sequencing. Kaya nung una pa lang, pinayagan na sila doon sa unang request nila for the sequence to be jumbled na hindi siya sequential because of that same Supreme Court decision of Tanenge.
Sir, di ba po Monday nag-submit ng kanilang memorandum ang prosecution and defense tungkol dun sa subpoena for the bank and tax documents. So ibig sabihin kaya may oral argument because nag-oppose ang defense panel. Tama po ba, pwede ba kami makahingi ng gist kung anong laman ng memorandum nila? Particularly po ng defense panel.
Basically, ang arguments po against the issuance of the subpoena, which they have always argued since the time na nag-answer po sila, pati sa pre-trial brief nila, sinabi na po ng depensa na as to the BIR records, covered daw ng confidentiality yon na absolute yung Section 270 of the tax code na if the matter is walang exception ang impeachment doon sa BIR records na yon. Second, ang objection nila is to the term of the ITRs and the tax records that is being asked, nakasama yung mga years na bago pa man naging yung vice presidente, bago siya naging impeachable officer. Tapos data privacy violation at saka dun sa mga 22 business interests, yung separate juridical entity of the corporations na hindi pwedeng ipasabina yon kasi they are not parties to this case dahil sila ay iba yung identity ng korporasyon doon sa mga stockholders. So yun yung some of the arguments that I remember from the memorandum.
Okay, thank you, Attorney. So tomorrow po, walang witness, oral argument lang talaga and decision doon sa pagpapasabpina sa bank and tax records?
Tama po, yun lang po.
Attorney, sorry. If may karoon na po ng decision tomorrow regarding nga dun sa pagsasapina ng records, speculative lang, can still any team pa rin ba file sa Supreme Court, kunyari TRO, regarding that decision that will be made tomorrow? Is it still possible or Supreme na yung mangyayaring pagdedesisyon bukas?
Actually, there's two schools of thought. No? May mga strict constitutionalists, yung mga textual constitutionalists, they say that it is only the Senate as a impeachment court who has the sole power to try and decide. So any matters regarding the trial is within the powers only of the Senate and cannot be reviewed by the court. There is another school of thought, yung mga liberal constitutionalists would argue that the impeachment proceedings is not outside of the judicial power of the court to determine whether a grave abuse of discretion resulting to lack or excess of jurisdiction na pwedeng tingnan ng korte at i-review. So, dalawang nagtutunggali ang school of thought. Hindi pa natin alam kung ano yung mananaig.
Attorney, follow-up ko lang din po regarding dun sa BIR box. Meron na po bang coordination yung impeachment court sa Palace? Kasi nung nakaraan, nabanggit po ni Senator Lacson na yung hindi niya po susuportahan kung walang authorization from the President na buksan itong BIR box, and nagpahayag din po yung palasyo na pag-aaralan nila itong pagbubukas nga ng BIR box na naglalaman ng tax records ni VP. May coordination na po ba kaya?
Wala kaming naririnig regarding that because it is not the impeachment court's duty na makipag-coordinate sa palasyo. It is the movant or the requesting party's obligation to do so if ever yun yung gusto nilang tahakin para pumasok sa exception. So again, I reiterate, the courts are usually passive, and only if there is an actual controversy or actual motion that's raised by parties before it can the court act. It cannot be proactively acting on things na wala namang issue pa for the meantime sa harap niya.
So clarify ko lang, attorney. So dapat PROSEC ang mag-request nito?
Kasi sila po nagre-request nun sa impeachment court na i-issue.
Thank you po.
So, clarify na po. Kasi bank and tax records yung pinapasapina. So, doon sa tax records, doon po walang exemption ng
Tatlo
impeachment?
po.
sorry.
One, sa BIR po, the tax records, no? Tax records of the respondent, the husband of the respondent, and also the 22 corporations that are allegedly connected to the respondent. As to the Anti-Money Laundering Council, the reports, the investigation, the STRs, so suspicious transaction reports, and all other work product of the AMLC as regard to the respondent, the husband of the respondent, and the 22 business corporations as well. So, yun yung mga hinihingi nila. Tapos sa mga bangko, they also ask subpoena duces tecum sa mga banks na with stated na mga bank accounts and bank account name. Directly yun na-i-issue sa bank. So tatlong subpoena, tatlong chunk of subpoena halos yung makikita natin ipapa-issue.
Ay, no po. So, ang walang exemption po sa impeachment ay yung tax records. Tama po ba? Pero yung mga bank
Section
records...
270, sinasabi po ng depensa
Yeah.
na confidential po yun. So, ang sinasabi ng prosecution, hindi naman confidential yun kasi nga parang impeachment should override the privacy considerations of the tax code.
Yes, so, pero sa tax records po yan. Pero yung sa bank records...
Sa bank
ganun din
records
ba?
po, dalawang issue rin po doon. One, sa peso deposits. Sa peso deposit po, merong exception sa bank secrecy law on impeachment proceedings. Habang sa foreign currency deposit law, wala pong exception. So, yun yung ina-argue rin ng depensa na hindi rin pwede po. And then lastly, yung argument nila sa data privacy, that it will violate the data privacy law. Nasagot naman po rin ng prosecution yung bawat issue na yon dahil anticipated na naman po ng prosecution din kung ano yung mga issues na i-raise ng depensa. Kaya maganda po yung legal arguments tomorrow. Lahat tayo matututo po. Yeah, nosebleed po ulit tayo. May questions ako? Wala na? Okay, salamat. Thank you.